That ending to SmackDown could go down as one of the most pivotal moments in WWE in 2020, or it could be a moment that we look back upon as something which was a bit of a laughing stock in 4, 6, 8 months down the line. We don't know, as of right now, what's going to come of this and where they go with it, but based on what I saw in that main event, I really like that. It was a big talking point. It was just like The Fiend attacking Alexa Bliss last week. It's going to be a big talking point. This stable, basically, well, before I get into it, if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the sub button, all that kind of stuff. But basically, what they did, so we had this main event tag match of literally Heavy Machinery versus Miz and Morrison, which I swear we've seen about 3 times. It doesn't feel like a main event. They get Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, and they do all that kind of stuff. Then the lights go out for about the 100th time in the show, and then all of a sudden we cut to Michael Cole and Corey Graves at commentary, and then these 5 people who, on Raw, they threw stuff at a generator or something on Monday night. That was a bit weird. Tonight, they just completely take over the last 10 minutes of this show, or like last 5 minutes. We get them rushing through from the crowd. They chase away Michael Cole and Corey Graves. Michael Cole is running for his life. That was hilarious. Corey Graves nearly gets hit with one of these, like, baton things, one of these, like, metal poles, and, like, throughout this whole thing, there's, like, the censorship beep to make it seem like they're cussing, even though they're clearly not. They're just putting, beeping over the audio every, like, 20 seconds. So we got beeping randomly, again, cameraman being assaulted, we had everything being graffitied, we had fans being beaten up. This whole thing felt a bit like a more dramatic version of the Nexus debut. That's what this felt like, which, I mean, I'm a fan of that. The Nexus debut was a massive talking point. We can still remember that 10 years down the line. So maybe this is going to be some big talking point. Now, I'm not going to get my hopes up too much because this is WWE and their long-term execution on booking is abhorrent in 2020. So I'm not going to say this is going to be some amazing, just cataclysmic moment in wrestling history, but it was a big talking point for a main event. It was a Retribution takeover of sorts. Now, it waits to be seen who's in this group. Personally, if I'm putting in people for a Retribution group, I'd put, I don't know, Aleister Black, Dominic Dijakovic. There's so many people you could put into this group. Seriously, so many. Like, so many people fit this build. There's, I believe, 3 guys and 2 women. I believe that's what I'm thinking. So that it's like a mixed gender thing. So they're playing up, they're going to take over everything. So we have 5 people here. I mean, they ended the show with one dude, I think it was the dude, getting out a chainsaw and cutting all the ropes. Like, they went all in with this. Like, this last 7 minutes, the clip of that is going to get probably like 6 million views on the WWE YouTube channel. It's going to go big, that one, because it's a big angle, and I like big angles, okay? I've been preaching this for months. I want big angles on SmackDown. Now, granted, you're going to have the usuals who probably hate on this and say that it was the worst ending to a SmackDown all year, and I guess that's to be expected, but for me, I'm going to wait to see where this goes. Same thing with Raw Underground. I'll give it a couple of weeks. With this, I'll give it like a month or 2. If they reveal these people and it's a bunch of nobodies people we've never heard of, and it's just a complete failure, then fair enough. But they tried a big hot angle tonight following this SmackDown main event that no one cared about, and overall, I'd say I'm happy with it. I mean, what more could you ask for? They did a big, fresh angle. This is going to do probably really good viewership in the YWC. So that was like the ending. That was what they did there. So if you didn't see anything from this show, this is like the main thing and like the only thing I recommend you check out. It's the only thing that's really worth watching, because outside of this, the rest of the show was a bit of a mess. If we're being honest, there was a lot of, like, we had DQ finishes. We had Sheamus and Baron Corbin each wrestling twice because we're all asking for that. We had like Cesaro versus, was it Lince Dorado, I believe? Like a bunch of kind of random stuff, and that was really the theme of this SmackDown. Like a lot of messy booking, a lot of, like, what are they really doing here? So, one of the other main things I want to talk about, because in my SmackDown reviews and my wrestling reviews, I only want to give you guys the things that matter. I don't want to just be here rambling through the whole show, because no one cares. So, we had this segment, like an hour and a half in, Bayley and Sasha Banks in the ring, Stephanie McMahon on the Titantron. Yeah, we've seen this kind of thing like 3 times, but this one, the whole thing that's coming out of this is Stephanie announced the SummerSlam women's title matches. So, Sasha Banks will defend the Raw Women's title against Asuka, I'm 99% sure, at SummerSlam, so that's to be expected, really. Meanwhile, Bayley will defend the SmackDown Women's title against the winner of an interbrand Raw, SmackDown, NXT Battle Royal, which is next week. So, on Twitter, I raised the idea, who should Bayley fight? Who should win this Battle Royal? So, Rhea Ripley, she's like the main one I've seen people say. Rhea just makes sense. She really would. She's nothing really doing at NXT. She's a big babyface who, she can win it, and then we can get Rhea Ripley versus Sonya Deville in like October, November. That'd be sick. So they can do that. Or They can do Tessa Blanchard. I mean, I threw that out on Twitter as an option. You could do that. Could do Liv Morgan, Shayna Baszler. You could do Bianca Belair. Like, there's a few options you can go for that SmackDown Women's title. So, I'm interested to see where they go. Stuff like that. It's like a wait and see. I'm interested to see where they go, which, that's good. I'm interested to see what they do with Retribution, what they do with the SmackDown Women's title. So, that's interesting. This Universal title thing, with The Fiend make his entrance on SmackDown, which I think is the first time The Fiend's actually come out on SmackDown. It felt a bit random. Literally, it was like 52 minutes in the show, and then The Fiend's music hits and he comes out. And it's like, okay, so The Fiend comes out, we go to commercial, we come back, and Alexa Bliss is in the ring. I'm like, is this a replay from last week? Like, are they showing last week's ending segment again? But no, it was literally just a new segment. The Fiend was going to attack Alexa Bliss again, but she, like, put a hand on his face, and Strowman came on Titantron, as you can see here, and spent, like, 2 minutes using the B word a few times and calling out Bray. So that's what they did there. I guess I'm somewhat interested in the SummerSlam match. That SummerSlam match is basically, if The Fiend loses, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt is just done, like, for good. So, I mean, that was that, and then we had this really good Sonya Deville promo, which, before this Sonya Deville promo, because they did Miz and Morrison, or Miz TV, or the Dirt Sheet, whatever you call it, with Sonya Deville, but before Sonya Deville came out, we got an interview between Miz and Morrison and Mandy Rose's hair for 3 minutes. Yeah, that's why we watch wrestling. So we got that, and then we got a bunch of stuff throughout the night with Matt Riddle, Baron Corbin, Chad Gable, Sheamus. I'm not even going to review that. That took up like 40 minutes of this show. Just random DQ schmoz endings. I don't really care. So that was basically SmackDown. Oh, and Big E cut a really good promo. So that was SmackDown for this week. I mean, what's the date today for this SmackDown? August 7th, 2020. Overall, it's a big ending. That ending could perhaps be one of the defining moments of 2020. We'll see. Hopefully it is, because then I can look back on this review with a bit of fondness. But I don't know. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, sub, because I know the drill. See ya.